TechDaily.ai, your source for technical information. This deep dive is sponsored by Stonefly, your trusted solution provider and advisor in enterprise storage, backup, disaster recovery, hyper-converged in VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox cluster, AI servers, and public and private cloud. Check out stonefly.com or email your project requirements to sales@stonefly.com. Okay, let's unpack this. Are we really looking at a huge shift in cybersecurity?
It certainly seems like it.
That's what we're diving into today, this whole quantum computing thing and what it might mean for, well, keeping everything digital safe.
Yeah, the core worry is pretty straightforward, actually.
Which is?
That these quantum computers, once they're powerful enough, could basically shatter the encryption we use right now.
Shatter it. Wow. Okay, so that impacts everything.
Yeah.
Online shopping, banking.
Secure communications, even things like blockchain and cryptocurrencies, it's foundational.
And there's this idea, harvest now, decrypt later. Sounds a bit ominous.
It is. It means adversaries could be collecting encrypted data today.
Stuff they can't read yet.
Exactly. But they're betting that in, say, 10 or 15 years, they'll have a quantum computer that can read it.
So data that needs to stay secret for a long time is already at risk.
Yeah.
We need to act now, even if the threat isn't immediate.
That's the key takeaway, especially for long-term sensitive info.
Right. And we're drawing on insights from, the big cybersecurity agencies, NIST, NSA, CISA, plus what the tech industry is saying.
There's a growing consensus about the potential and the need to prepare.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. How are these quantum computers so different? It's not just about speed, is it?
Not just speed, no. It's a whole different way of computing. Classical computers use bits, right? 0 or 1, on or off.
Like a light switch. Simple enough.
Quantum computers use qubits. And thanks to quantum mechanics, specifically superposition a qubit can be a 0, a 1, or kind of both at the same time.
Both at once. Okay, that bends my brain a little. Like the light switch is on and off until you look.
That's a decent analogy, yeah.
Yeah.
Until it's measured. And they can also be linked together, entangled. This lets them explore a vast number of possibilities simultaneously.
So instead of trying one key, then the next, then the next?
It can sort of check huge combinations all at once. For certain problems, this leads to an exponential speed-up over classical computers, even supercomputers.
And that's the link to encryption breaking.
Precisely. Current encryption standards like RSA and ECC, they rely on mathematical problems being incredibly hard for normal computers to solve.
Like factoring massive numbers. Or you mentioned discrete logarithms.
Yeah, discrete logarithms. Think of it like, the result of raising a number to a certain power, but finding that original power is the secret, and it's really hard with big numbers.
Okay. Hard for my laptop. Easy. Or easier for a quantum computer.
Potentially, yes. Shor's algorithm, a quantum algorithm, is specifically designed to tackle those problems efficiently.
And RSA and ECC aren't niche.
Right.
They're everywhere.
Absolutely everywhere. Protecting emails, web traffic, financial transactions, VPNs. The list goes on.
And there's a timeline estimate. I heard something like 2035.
That's the figure some experts are citing, yeah. For a quantum computer capable of breaking RSA 2048, a very common standard. It's not tomorrow, but it's close enough that we need to be planning now.
Okay, so if RSA and ECC are vulnerable, what does that mean for blockchain? Bitcoin, for example.
That's a really important area. Blockchains, including Bitcoin, heavily depend on public and private key cryptography.
Usually RSA or ECC, right? For signing transactions, proving ownership.
Exactly. Those keys ensure security, integrity, authentication. The whole trust model rests on that crypto being solid.
So a powerful quantum computer could potentially
Port signature.
coins.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It could derive a private key from a public key, which would allow someone to control those funds.
And you mentioned ECDSA, elliptic curve digital signature algorithm, is maybe more vulnerable.
It often uses smaller key sizes compared to RSA for similar security levels against classical attacks. But those smaller keys might make it an easier target for quantum computers using Shor's algorithm.
Easier target, quicker break. Okay, what about the mining part? Proof of work.
That's another potential vulnerability. For chains like Bitcoin, a quantum computer might gain a significant advantage in the mining process.
How so?
It could potentially solve the computational puzzle much faster than all the honest miners combined.
Leading to, like, a 51% attack, but with quantum power. Controlling the ledger.
That's the theoretical risk, yes.
Yeah.
Taking over the network. I think I saw that University of Sussex research you mentioned.
Yeah, 13 million qubits breaking Bitcoin in a day. Sounds like science fiction, but
It's theoretical, and getting that many stable, usable qubits is a massive engineering challenge. We're nowhere near that yet, but it highlights the fundamental vulnerability down the line.
right. It's not just crypto, though. This threat is much broader.
Oh, absolutely. The same cryptographic weaknesses affect almost everything else.
Like all the data just sitting on servers, encrypted.
Yep, encrypted databases, backups. Also, secure web browsing, that little padlock icon for HTTPS that relies on this stuff.
VPNs, too, for secure connections.
VPNs, secure software updates, even the security in many Internet of Things devices, smart home gadgets. Some use lightweight crypto that could also be vulnerable.
And critical infrastructure, government, healthcare, finance.
Exactly. Systems that run power grids, banks, hospitals, they all depend on strong encryption, which brings us back to that store now, decrypt later thing.
Right, because some data needs to stay secret for a very long time.
Decades even. Think about classified government documents, military plans,
Or sensitive corporate strategies, intellectual property.
long-term financial records, or even
Yeah.
personal health records. I think you mentioned France requires keeping medical files for 20 years.
Yeah, something like that. So if that data is encrypted today with algorithms that a future quantum computer can break,
Its confidentiality is compromised down the road. Malicious actors, state-sponsored groups, they could be hoarding this data now.
it really changes the game for espionage, potentially destabilizing things geopolitically if one nation gets this capability first.
It's a serious concern, which is why the focus is shifting heavily towards finding solutions.
Okay, so what is the solution? Are we doomed?
Ha! No, definitely not doomed. The cybersecurity world is actively working on this. The main effort is called post-quantum cryptography, or PQC.
Post-quantum, meaning crypto that can resist attacks from both classical and quantum computers.
That's the goal, developing entirely new types of mathematical problems that we believe are hard for both types of computers to solve.
And NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, they're leading the charge on standardizing these.
Yes, they've been running a multi-year competition, a rigorous process to vet potential PQC algorithms submitted from around the world.
Lots of smart people working on this.
A huge international effort. And the first batch of these standardized algorithms is expected really soon, actually, sometime in 2024.
Okay, so standards are coming. But switching everything over sounds like a massive undertaking.
It is. It won't happen overnight. That's why hybrid approaches are likely going to be important during the transition.
Hybrid, like using both old and new crypto together.
Exactly. You might encrypt or sign something using both a classical algorithm like AES or RSA and a new PQC algorithm.
Ah, like a belt and suspenders approach.
Yeah.
If one fails, the other still holds.
Precisely. It provides a safety net during the migration period. But even with that, organizations need to start preparing now.
They need a plan. A quantum readiness roadmap, as some are calling it.
That's the term, yeah. And step one is figuring out where all your current potentially vulnerable cryptography actually is.
Like doing an inventory.
Yeah.
Finding all the RSA, ECC, everywhere.
Everywhere. In your IT systems, your operational technology, if you have it, network gear, applications, code libraries, firmware updates, development processes.
Wow, that sounds daunting, especially for large organizations.
It can be complex, no doubt, but it's essential. You need to know what you have before you can plan how to fix or upgrade it.
And then link that inventory to what's most important.
Right. Connect it to your asset management, figure out which systems protect the most sensitive data, especially data needing that long-term secrecy we talked about. Prioritize those.
Makes sense. What about software or cloud services you buy from others? You don't always control the crypto they use internally.
That's a critical piece. You need to talk to your vendors, ask them about their PQC roadmaps. When will their products support the new standards? What's the migration path?
So it requires pushing the vendors, too. It's an ecosystem shift,
Absolutely, it has to be. Luckily, there are resources to help.
like from NIST, NSA, CISA.
Yes, in the US. And in Europe, organizations like ENISA and ETSI are putting out guidance. They offer frameworks, advice, best practices to help organizations plan this transition.
Okay, good to know help is out there.
Yeah.
Now, I've also heard about QKD, quantum key distribution. Is that the same as PQC?
Ah, good question. No, they're different. QKD uses quantum physics principles to securely share encryption keys.
So it's about getting the key from A to B securely.
Yes. Theoretically, if someone tries to eavesdrop on the key exchange, the quantum state gets disturbed and you know about it. But it has limitations.
Like what?
Mostly distance limitations and the need for specialized hardware, often dedicated fiber optic lines. It's not easily scalable for protecting, say, general internet traffic everywhere.
So more for niche, high-security, point-to-point links.
That seems to be its main application area currently. PQC algorithms are generally seen as the more practical, software-based solution for widespread deployment to replace things like RSA and ECC.
Got it. So PQC is the main path forward for most systems. And just to double check, are the symmetric algorithms like AES also in trouble?
That's a key point. Symmetric crypto, where you use the same key to encrypt and decrypt, like AES-256, it seems to be holding up much better against quantum attacks.
Really? Why is that?
Well, the best-known quantum attack against symmetric crypto, Grover's algorithm, it does offer a speed up, but it's not exponential like Shor's algorithm is for RSA-ECC.
So it makes it faster to break, but not catastrophically faster.
Right. Essentially, it halves the effective key strength. So for AES-128, it might become breakable. But for AES-256,
Doubling the key length makes it exponentially harder again, even for Grovers.
exactly. The general recommendation currently is that using AES-256 provides sufficient security against known quantum attacks for the foreseeable future. So the urgent focus is really on replacing the public key crypto.
Okay, that's reassuring for at least one part of the picture. So wrapping things up, the takeaway is quantum computing is coming. It poses a real, eventual threat to our current public key crypto.
A threat we need to take seriously now because of that harvest now, decrypts later issue.
But solutions are being developed and standardized in the form of post-quantum cryptography.
Precisely. And organizations need to start planning their transition. Inventory, prioritize, talk to vendors, follow the guidance from NIST and others.
So for you listening, this isn't science fiction anymore. It's time to start thinking about this in your context. What crypto are you relying on? What's your plan? Check out those resources from NIST, CISA, and ESA.
It's really about proactive preparation. The cryptographic landscape is always evolving. This is just the next major evolution we need to navigate.
Staying ahead of the curve to protect our digital future. Makes sense. TechDaily.ai, your source for technical information. This deep dive was sponsored by Stonefly, your trusted solution provider and advisor in enterprise storage, backup, disaster recovery, hyperconverged in VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox cluster, AI servers, and public and private cloud. Check out stonefly.com or email your project requirements to sales@stonefly.com.